So, what is the big deal about the girl child and her rights anyway? I'm glad you asked. At 2, she was separated from her parents, especially her mom. Does she not deserve a loving home and care? Or the role model of a loving mother to guide and lead her? At 6, she lived with her aunts, where she suffered physical and verbal abuse. Well, at least she had an education, you argue. Well, yes, but what she had in education was lacking in other girls her age or slightly older, as she watched young girls like herself get married off. This was traumatic for the girls and herself. So what is the big deal anyway with the girl child, you ask? At 7, she was exposed to the ill called sexual abuse and molestation, as the one who was employed to teach her taught more than his pay grade, perhaps an unsolicited bonus. The lessons that she learned that way marked her for the rest of her life. She was touched, made to touch, not the type of touch that builds you up, but the type of touch that broke you into a million pieces. The biggest lesson that day, however, was to never trust an adult. By 11, molestation was no longer a big deal to her. She was molested by family, friends, and neighbors. Remember the lessons she learned at 7? All through the years, she endured doing more chores than her brother, wondering why she had been saddled with more responsibilities than they. You are a woman. One day you will be a homemaker, they said. And so she wondered if that meant she was created for nothing other than marriage and making some man happy at the expense of her own happiness and life. When she remembers the story of her mother, her mom's education had to be sacrificed for that of her brothers, simply because she was a girl child. Bad investment, some would say. And so it was natural to think that the world had done her a lot of favor by educating her. She could have been in a worse state, like her mother or the other girls who got married off. And so she learned to accept the bare minimum, grateful for the crumbs that life threw at her every now and then. This prepared her well to accept the lesser pay, to deal quietly with the sexual power play that was appealed to her by working with men over the years. And so she was labeled an outlier, stubborn, for speaking out against colleagues who had assaulted her and other female colleagues. Sad enough, some of the people who labeled her were fellow women who were once girl children. You'd think they'd know better, right? But you can never underestimate the power of systemic mental slavery. So what is the big deal with the girl child and her rights, you ask? Every woman today can see a version of herself in the girl child story. Historically, the girl child had had more exposure to dangers. She had suffered perversions society had doled out the most. And so if you don't think that it's time that these ended, if you don't think that it's time that she demanded to be treated equally across all spectrums, then you are the problem. It starts with how we treat the girl child through the boy child. So what is the big deal with the girl child, you ask? My response? Everything. She is human. She has a right to life just like you. She is a child. Protect her innocence. She has a mind. It seeks to learn, educate her. She is talented. Develop her. She feels pain, so do not shut her out. Whatever happened to freedom of expression? She has a voice. Let her speak. I ask again, whatever happened to freedom of expression? She works hard, so pay her dues. She is valuable. Treat her with respect. Her body is her sanctuary, sacred to her. Do not violate it. She is a girl child, and that is not a crime. Today, I join voices with every girl child in support of the rights of girl child. To use your voice, make it loud, break the ceilings hanging over your head, because you and your rights are a big deal.